Yo, what's going on with y'all, boy, man? Welcome back to another video. And if you're new here, welcome. I just came on here just to talk about the situation between Jaylen Brown and Giannis, and the Celtics and Giannis, and the trade rumors with them saying that Jaylen Brown is most likely, if it was to happen, the trade is going to be centered around Jaylen Brown and Giannis. And just my thought on that, my initial thought on that was, for the Bucks, I think it'll ultimately be a win. You know what I'm saying? Because you're getting a MVP caliber player, a player that's shown you that he doesn't really need a lot to at least take a team to the playoffs, or he doesn't need a lot. And I think for the Celtics, pretty much, you are getting a Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? One of the greatest, most dominant players to play the game, in Giannis. But I think it does raise the question of, will this put you over the edge? You know what I'm saying? Are you really, is it a guarantee that you're going to get better? You know what I'm saying? Because you're giving up Jaylen Brown, who is ultimately a key part of the entire franchise. And without him, especially last season, you wouldn't even have the success that you had last season without him. And I think, you know what I'm saying, you're ultimately giving him up for somebody like Giannis. And if I'm only guessing, but I'm sure that it's going to be more than just Jaylen Brown straight up for Giannis. You know what I'm saying? And because I think if that was the case, then the trade would have already been done if it was that simple. But I'm sure it's probably going to be some picks, maybe a few extra players involved within that deal. And I think for the Celtics, it's more of, where do you draw the line? You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, you're giving up Jaylen Brown, and ultimately, you know, now you're putting your depth at risk, you know, by adding on other pieces besides Jaylen Brown. You know what I'm saying? Because even if you was to put, just throwing the name out there, if you was to put somebody like Jordan Walsh in that trade, or, you know, somebody like Derek White, who, you know, had a down year, and you may be looking to move on from him. You know what I'm saying? You're losing two key players, or potential key players, that have shown you that they can be impactful. You know what I'm saying? On both sides of the ball. And they've pretty much been giving you an edge, you know, over a lot of teams. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the main thing with the Celtics, especially for these few years, these past 4 or 5 years. The biggest thing has been that they've been able to have depth, you know, options. And if something's not working, they can change it up completely and still have success. You know what I'm saying? They can mix and match different lineups and things like that, which surrounded around players like Jaylen Brown being able to handle the ball and defend. You know what I'm saying? Which is another reason why, you know what I'm saying, giving up on Jaylen Brown so loosely may be, you know, a problem. But you're ultimately putting your franchise at risk, and you don't want to end up in a situation similar to where the Bucks are right now, where you're putting a lot of pressure on Giannis to have to pretty much do everything. You know what I'm saying? Put the franchise on his back once again. Now you can say he got players like Jason Tatum on his side now, but if you're the Celtics, you don't want to really put yourself in a situation to where now you're putting so much pressure on Jason Tatum and Giannis, to the point where it ultimately hurts your franchise. You know what I'm saying? Because if it don't work out, now you have no backup plan. Now you can't retract what you did, or you can't, you know what I'm saying, switch it up. You know what I'm saying? Because you lost that with, you know, somebody like Jaylen Brown and whoever else you're looking to put in that trade, whether it's picks too. Because we've seen teams like, you know, the Nets, for example, you know, make big decisions like this. You know what I'm saying? Like in, I think it was 2014, where they traded for Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, pretty much traded their future for the whole Boston core. And you saw how that it ended up haunting them in the future. If you're Boston, you already have a good thing brewing. It's not like you're struggling and you're barely making the playoffs, 7th, 8th seed, or, you know what I'm saying, it's looking like you're slowing down anytime soon. Like, no, you basically, coming into this season, you were projected to have one of the worst seasons of your past 7 years. You know what I'm saying? Since pretty much Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have been, you know, put together as a duo. Jaylen Brown has shown you that he can take a team, he can lead a team, he can, you know, be the leader of a team, the go-to guy of a franchise, and the team's still able to win. And not saying that Giannis can't do that, but ultimately you don't know how Giannis is going to fit within this system and just fit within the overall team. He's going to make an impact nonetheless, but when it comes to just the fit overall, how he fits with other players, how his play style may conflict with other players, you know what I'm saying? That's where the issue lies. Especially with somebody like Jason Tatum, you don't really know. You know what I'm saying? You can probably assume how this duo may work out, but ultimately you really don't know until they're on the court playing together. You know what I'm saying? Because we've seen duos in the past, you know what I'm saying, it seemed like they're going to work out, like Dame and Giannis, which seemed like the perfect fit, basically the most perfect fit you could probably make for a duo, and it ultimately didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? It had to move on quick. So that's why I said I feel like if you're the Celtics, you don't want to put yourself in that type of situation where you're trading away your future or even just your immediate success. Because even if it is just Jaylen Brown and a couple picks, you know what I'm saying? Like, you still don't want to, you know, trade away something that you've seen work for something that might work. And even if it does work, is this even enough to guarantee a championship? Is Giannis really the missing piece you may need if you're the Boston Celtics? You know what I'm saying? And right now, I just, you know, part of me is saying, you know, Giannis is one of the all-time greats, but at the same time, Giannis can only do so much. You know what I'm saying? Now, if we were talking about pairing Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Giannis together, then that's a situation where it's like, do all you can to get it done. But you trading away one of your key players who's coming off of one of the greatest seasons of his career, you know what I'm saying, to get a player that, you know what I'm saying, you don't really know how he's going to work within this system, within the offense, under this head coach or whatnot. You just don't know. It's a lot of, you know, missing pieces, blank spaces within this situation. Ultimately, if you're the Boston Celtics, I would just leave that alone. Now, if you're the Bucks, you know what I'm saying, you want to get the best possible scenario, and getting Jaylen Brown, who like I said, is coming off a career season. I feel like, you know, it's no better, not saying it's no better option, but for immediate success and something to build on for the future, Jaylen Brown might be the best case scenario in this situation. You know what I'm saying? Besides getting drafting and getting a young star that you can build within the organization. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty much all I got for this video. Like I said, if you're the Boston Celtics, I will probably just slow down just a little bit. You could say Giannis is a better player than Jaylen Brown, but when it comes to fit and what you're having to give up to get him, is it really worth it? You know what I'm saying? Or are you moving laterally, or are you taking a step up or a step back? You know what I'm saying? It's one of those situations. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Do those 3 things for me. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Did you do it? You did it? I appreciate it.